Hi, I'm Angela from mywritingcheck.com. I wanted to show you what you can expect when you send us a composition to critique. So we'll just get started. This is a couple pages from a book that we worked on this year called Self-Motivated Kids by Damara Simmons. So I'll just read you what she has originally written. I had already done this critique, so you'll see my markings and everything like it will look for your child's paper. So it says, recently I had a conversation with my youngest son that went something like this. Mom, can I play a video game? No, I reply. Can I play on your iPad? No. Can I play on Benjamin's iPad? No. At that point, tears of frustration filled his eyes. Mom, stop saying no to everything I ask. I can't do anything, he cried. In a younger child, this might have triggered a full-blown tantrum. So I suggested here, she originally had parentheses and I highlighted them and then made a comment about the highlighted part afterwards. So we highlight in yellow anything that we're going to discuss with your child, and we just address them directly, and it's conversational. I said you could probably take out the parentheses. It seems important enough. So it seemed like just a sentence that you would have included and not like an afterthought like you would put in parentheses. So then she talks about behavioral void. She has a quote here, and then she's mentioning a book. It's a picture book. So in the book, No, David, he is happily coloring on the wall when his mom calls out, No, David, no. He pauses, experiences a behavioral void, not knowing what to do. So he returns to coloring on the wall. So I highlighted that whole thing, and I commented to her, when I first read this paragraph, I felt like it was the first time the book was mentioned. So she had mentioned the book earlier in the chapter. How about this version? So this is my suggestion to her. Let's go back to the book, No, David. So I have quotes here. What I did was I put quotes around the part that I would suggest would replace this. Let's go back to the book, No, David. When his mother finds him coloring on the wall and simply tells him no, he experiences a behavioral void, not knowing what to do. Instead, he returns to the unwanted behavior. So I just came up with a version that might be more clear. Okay, then she talks about negative language. Speaking in the negative language is extremely confusing to anyone. So when I read this, what I do when I go through is I read, and kind of as a reader would, and if I feel stopped by my thoughts, I try and pay attention to how it makes me feel to read the paper or read whatever it is I'm critiquing, and then give suggestions to make it more clear. Like I said here, this kind of sounds like it's confusing when you're doing the speaking. So I suggested, how about it is confusing to be given negative directions and to have to interpret them. Going on, here's an example. Imagine you were learning a new game, the directions, and then I just highlighted that word and make a comment right in the middle of her sentence. Maybe say instructions if you change the previous sentence so you don't say directions twice. So back here, my suggestion included the word directions. So if she chooses to use that sentence, the way I would change it, she might want to take out directions here so it's not in two sentences in a row. So then continuing her sentence are explained by telling you what not to do, such as don't play the red card, don't pass the card, don't take more than one card. Once the instructions are finished, would you have any idea what to do? Wouldn't you be completely confused? And then she asks, why is that? So she's got 3 questions in a row. So, and then a statement, you were never taught what to do, you were never taught how to play the game. So what I felt like was that it was a lot of questions in a row. So she might want to say, you would be completely confused instead of asking another question. So it's more variety for someone's brain as they're reading through there. Instead of a lot of questions, a reader would kind of feel bogged down. So I suggested question, answer, question, answer. And then in teal, when I have things in teal, now you clearly know what is expected, comma, and you stand. When I highlight something in teal, I just want to insert a comma, like I don't have to explain, and you know that you need a comma here. Sometimes I would, though, if I felt like that the student wasn't understanding why I would need the comma, but I felt like she was going to understand that. So then we go on. Marshall Rosenberg, our author of Living Nonviolent Communication. It wasn't italicized or underlined. You can do either for a title. I also suggest that requests be expressed in positive action language by stating clearly what we do want done. This means we need to think, what is it I want my child to do? Then tell them in a positive way your expectation. So I felt like that sentence was a little, slowed me down a little, kind of looking for speed bumps when I read. The suggestion was you may want to flip this for clarity. So tell them your expectation in a positive way. It's just more clear. and it's kind of the point she's making here, to be more clear. When David is coloring on the wall, what does his mom need him to do? She needs him to color on the paper, not the wall. She does say, does, so I highlighted does, and I suggested communicates or shows him this by saying you can color on the paper like this. Because it was originally she does this by saying, and I wanted her to be more clear about what this was that she was doing. She was communicating. So that's the process that we go through when we critique a composition for you. We also, at the beginning of the paper or at the end, we write a paragraph telling your child what we liked about it. We want to encourage your children in their writing, so we do make positive comments throughout, and then in the paragraph we explain just further what we liked about it and about the overall paper. So you can go to mywritingcheck.com and click Send a Composition to get started.